Welcome back. We were anticipating a decision, and it has been handed down. An opinion by the United States Supreme Court has come down, and it essentially overturns Roe v. Wade, allowing states to ban abortion. The majority opinion authored by Samuel Alito, and it is long, and we're just getting it now. Just literally dropped a few minutes ago. There's a live picture outside the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. People are absorbing the news as we watch live, the reaction there. Let's bring in our guests to talk about this. Constitutional lawyer Pamela C. is in Florida, along with Sue Ann Robinson, and Eric Fidali is in New York. All right, Pamela, I know we've had a minute, maybe two, to read through. Basically, it seems as though, cursory reading, it's mirroring the leaked draft from Samuel Alito. What stands out?
Just a quick look. I just downloaded it on my computer just now, and the holding is pretty much what was stated in the leaked opinion, where it does specifically overrule Roe v. Wade, and it turns the decision-making back to the states, allowing the people in each state to make that decision regarding regarding abortions. Certainly, that was rather expected. And the key thing to me is we looked at 98 pages in that original leaked opinion, and now we have 213 pages. I don't know how many of that is actual dissent, but I'm guessing there's a good portion of that. I also would like to see what the concurring opinion would be. I think that Chief Justice Roberts submitted a concurring opinion on this. So I think it's important that we look at what does that concurring opinion look like? What do the dissents look like? But what exactly did the majority say? How much different was it from the original leaked opinion? And I think that's going to be very telling on how this turns out. But obviously, it is exactly what they anticipated. We have overturned Roe v. Wade.
Judge Kavanaugh, I'm reading here too, has also submitted a concurring opinion. This is something that obviously will be mulled over by folks like you, Pamela, for decades. Let's bring in, get first reactions from Sue Ann and Eric. Sue Ann, you first. This was not unexpected, but now it'll be a bit chaotic state to state because basically as part of this opinion, Judge Alito writes that for 185 years prior to Roe v. Wade in 1973, it was up to the states, and that this does not, the Constitution does not confer the right to an abortion, and that is what we should go back to, leave it up to the states. When you leave things up to the states, you have 50 different entities you're leaving it up to, and that can create some levels of chaos. What's your initial reaction, Sue Ann?
We just undid 50 years of legal precedent. And, you know, obviously as a lawyer, as someone who had to study constitutional law, that's a very, very, you know, just a jarring moment. You're like, whoa, okay, so stare decisis out the window today. We're just, you know, it's a new day. I think it's interesting in the leaked opinion that an opinion was leaked at all. That in and of itself is another historical issue for another conversation, that the Supreme Court of the United States is not as tight as we thought it was, that the opinion was actually leaked in advance, and how that happened and what's going on with that. I'm sure we'll be talking about that for years into the future. But it's so interesting that Alito actually said in the leaked opinion that, you know, even though people's perception is going to be that he's limiting women's rights to a certain extent, that's what the case is for, that his perception is that he's actually empowering women, because now women on both sides can seek out the legislative process in their individual states to make the decisions on to decide what their state will do individually. I think it is going to be chaos, like you said. There's going to be states that are going to allow people to travel and have access to abortion, and they're going to be the states that want to shut that down. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out in potentially emergency medical situations.
Yeah, there's a lot to, because each state will have different rules and regulations, and it's going to be a process, that's for sure. Eric, your thoughts?
You mentioned the word chaos. I'm not sure that's the right word. I think the word is dangerous. This decision is hypocritical. It's anti-freedom. It's anti-woman. It's anti-privacy rights. It's anti-choice. It's anti-American. And it's vastly hypocritical. You also mentioned states' rights. Yeah, I live in New York City, and yesterday the Supreme Court made my state more dangerous in a decision on gun control, basically throwing out states' rights and said, no, the Supreme Court gets to decide what states do when it comes to gun control. But today they said that the Supreme Court, that the states get to pick what they want to do when it comes to abortion. There's a lot of hypocrisy here. It's a really sad day for the United States. It's a sad day for women. Yeah, of course, the Constitution did not mention abortion. It also didn't give women the right to vote. It also said black people are 3/5 of a person. So this clinging to the Constitution as an originalist is really, it is unavailing. It is unconvincing. This is a very sad day, and this is going to be very dangerous for a lot of women who want to seek health care in their states. And it may be chaotic. I think dangerous is a more appropriate word.
Pamela, the idea of precedent, stare decisis, what Alito's opinion is basically saying is that, well, no, you got to go before Roe v. Wade. That's only 50 years. There's 183 years of time that this was not a constitutional right, and there's where they're relying on it. And again, and there is this isn't a abortion's wrong decision. This is the law, in our opinion, says this. Overall, I mean, when you look at the court in general, and you studied it, you've studied decisions, and is this before the leak, is this an avenue you thought, after listening to the oral arguments in December, that this was how this was going to land? Because listening to those arguments, as we did here at Court TV, this was a theme, but it was yeah, I don't know that everybody would have thought, okay, that's where they're definitely going, because there was a lot of different subject matters that were discussed. Your thoughts?
In looking back at the oral arguments at the time, it seemed to me that the justices were exploring both sides to assure that what they were going to do, which they had not yet decided at that point, that what they were going to do was going to be appropriate and met the concerns of all the parties involved. So I don't see this as being unexpected, but I don't see that it was predetermined. It probably had an inkling that would be going in that direction because of the constitution of the court. That it would go this far was a little bit surprising, that it would actually fully overturn Roe v. Wade. That actually did surprise me. And to see that leaked opinion showing that, that took me by surprise somewhat. And yet, when I look at the opinion, I read the opinion, and I look back over the historical information that they provided, it does make sense in the way that they have presented it, and turning it back to the states is more of the historical precedent as well. And it would allow for states, as my colleague in New York would want, it would allow the state of New York to have even broader access to abortion than a state such as, I don't know, I'm guessing Kansas or Florida. So I think that's a very critical aspect to that. Was it unexpected? Not really, but still, to go as far as it has, and as from what I can gather in glancing through it, to stick primarily with that leaked opinion, that kind of surprised me a bit.
Okay, we should note that joining Justice Alito, Justice Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. The latter three justices were Trump appointees, and dissents, as expected, Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan. We'll take a break and continue our breaking news coverage of the dramatic decision handed down by the United States Supreme Court eliminating Roe v. Wade. There's a live look in Washington, D.C., people outside absorbing this decision. Talk about more next.